Hello everyone, welcome to Tuesday Talks with Abby. In this brand new series, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time, we dive into some of the most common and trickiest questions you will face in or have been asked in software and IT industry interviews. I will be picking a question each week, breaking it down, and giving you clear step-by-step explanations so you are more than ready to tackle them in the real world. I will also discuss the follow-up questions based on the main interview question. Whether you are gearing up for your first job interview, switching roles, or just want to brush up your skills, this is the place for you. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and let's get ready to ace those interview questions together. The first question is coming related to data types in SQL Server, and the question is, what is the difference between varchar and nvarchar in SQL Server? When this question was answered, and mostly if it is questioned in future to you in any of the companies, this is a common follow-up question. When should you prefer nvarchar over varchar? So the question is pretty much clear to you, and this was one of the questions asked by Microsoft. Let's go and try to understand it. The first thing that we try to understand is the intent of this question. Why are these kind of questions asked by companies? And what is the intention? The company's intention to ask this type of question is to understand from the candidate is the knowledge of data type. If they have proper knowledge of data types, SQL Server data types or not. Because many companies, such big companies, they work internationally, okay, and they need to support many languages globally. It is not possible that they will only support English or any specific English-like language, but they have to support all the languages, probably all possible languages available on the globe, right? And that's the case where they want to understand if the candidate has proper idea about the data types which are especially related to internationalization or localization in the database. Make sense? The intent is clear. Now let us try to understand what are the differences. So the varchar and nvarchar, both the data types are similar in the nature, but similar in the nature in the sense they store string data. So string data, if you say, it is the collection of characters like hello, how are you? These are all string data. So they are used to store string data. Basically, they are similar in this nature, right? But they differ on different criteria. They differ on the capacity to store, they differ on types of characters they store, and they differ on the storage they consume. Okay, so the primary difference is varchar can store non-unicode characters, whereas nvarchar can store Unicode characters. So there are two terms here, Unicode characters and non-Unicode characters. Let's try to understand these two. So if you say non-Unicode characters and Unicode characters, the main difference lies in the way they are encoded and the range of characters they support. If this is Unicode, that is also called as universal character encoding, they can represent character from almost every possible language. For example, it could be Chinese, it could be Japanese, Arabic, Greek, etc. But if we say non-Unicode characters, they are only going to support English or any specific language region like English and Western European. So this is the basic difference. So if you are going to support global countries and you want to support all the languages over your website or your application, obviously you need to have Unicode characters. Make sense? Let's go and explore differences possible. The first is character type. So varchar stores non-Unicode, mostly English and English-like, but nvarchar supports Unicode characters. Storage size is 1 byte, one character, 1 byte is what varchar consumes, but 2 bytes it consumes for one character. Length can be maximum 8,000 or max, that max depends on 2 GB, and 4,000 is for nvarchar. Memory efficiency, more efficient because they consume less space, but this uses more storage because for one character it consumes 2 bytes. Languages supported, limited to byte character set, English, Latin alphabets, that's all. But if you are going to see nvarchar, this supports Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, etc. use cases can be non-international applications. Any application which only going to support English, varchar could be suitable option. But if you are going to have multi-language support, then you need to have nvarchar. So hope these 6 points that have been discussed here, they differentiate both nvarchar and varchar clearly. Let's go and see some real-time example. If you have an e-commerce website, and if you are going to support only English, obviously varchar can be the option. If you have a global application which support multiple languages, obviously varchar will not work. Then you need to have nvarchar. If you have database optimization for English and Spanish, then obviously varchar. So there would be optimized data. But if you have to have international names in system, obviously nvarchar. Performance consideration. If it is memory efficiency, obviously varchar is a preference because it consumes less, 1 byte, but 2 bytes, 1 character in case of nvarchar. So until and unless it is pretty much required that you are going to support global languages, varchar could be the option. But yes, if you are going to support international languages, obviously nvarchar. Query performance in scenarios where you are frequently querying large amounts of textual data, varchar is the option, right? So varchar will outperform nvarchar in that case. Internationalization, obviously nvarchar is the option. You can't use varchar out there. So when to use nvarchar over varchar? This is the follow-up question. Let's answer this. When your application must support multiple languages, including special characters and Unicode, obviously you have no option left apart from using nvarchar. When data integrity for non-English characters is more important, so integrity means your data should be intact. What you are going to store should be stored. It should not be stored something different. So you need to have nvarchar in data integrity. Let's go and see these things in action in SQL Server Management Studio. So I am in SQL Server Management Studio, and for your information, I have created a couple of variables. Declare is a keyword. I am introducing, you already aware of this keyword called declare. This declare is a keyword by which you can create any variable in SQL Server, right? And any variable is preceded with @sign. So what I'm going to create 3 variables of 3 types. The varchar value is of varchar type, nvarchar value is a second variable of nvarchar type, and char value is a character type of variable. And please note here, all 3 of these have the same length that is called 100 length. So ideally, they may store maximum of 100 characters. Make sense? So in varchar value, I'm going to store hello. This is the way that I can store set and varchar value equal to hello, set varchar value equal to hello, and set and varchar value char value is hello. So the 3 values have been stored. Now let's go and display the length of these 3 variables. So how does varchar or nvarchar, how do varchar and nvarchar differ from char? The character is also able to store the string value, but they are fixed type of data types. If you have created a char value of 100, even if you are storing only 5 characters, it will consume 100 bytes of space only. It will not contain, it is not a varying length, it is fixed length, right? But varchar and nvarchars are of varying length. So if I'm going to display these, you see what is the answer. So I have run this, and you see data length of varchar is 5. Why? Because we stored only 5 characters. Data length of nvarchar becomes 10. We know, we have just discussed that nvarchar takes 2 bytes per character, so that's where 10 bytes. And data length of char is 100 because it is a fixed length variable. It's a fixed length variable, so irrespective of whatever you store, it will always consume 100 bytes. Make sense? So with this example, you are pretty much clear about the way that, the memory consumption by these 3 variables, and you have also got a difference between a varying length variable and a fixed length variable, that is char and varchar and nvarchar. Make sense? Now let's go and try to differentiate the varchar with nvarchar in the next example. So I am here, and now I'm going to create 2 variables, my varchar value and my n varchar value. Both are having of 100 size. And in my varchar value, I'm going to store something called ni hao. So ni, this is a Chinese character, ni hao. And if you want to store any Unicode character value, so you need to proceed with letter N in order to store it. So what I'm attempting to store is something called ni hao, which is Chinese characters, into a varchar type of variable. Make sense? And so let's go and try to see this. So I see that it is not showing me the value of ni hao which I have stored. Instead, if I'm going to, and second in, I have created a n varchar type of value here, variable, and where I'm going to store ni hao. So if I'm going to display this, both of these, let's go and display. So you see that the second variable, that is my n varchar value, is correctly storing the value of ni hao, that is Chinese character. But the first, which is of varchar type, has not been able to store. And here is the data integrity loss, the data loss here. And that's where we were talking about that when you really need internationalization or globalization, you need to store different language data. You obviously need to prefer nvarchar instead of varchar. I understand that I have covered both of the questions nicely to you, and you are now confident about answering these questions in your interviews. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more high quality technical content. Drop your question in comments and I will be happy to answer them. See you in the next one. Bye bye.